Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, man. Welcome back to the LBFWN, man. It is your boy Lewis, and I am back once again with another live, with another banger, with yet another video. And ladies and gentlemen, in this video, as you check the ticker, make sure to hit the like, make sure to stream the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and share the stream. Appreciate it, man. And this video is on saying goodbye to the 2010s, part 2. So in this one, ladies and gentlemen, we are covering 4 topics. Number 1, the biggest loss in the 2010s. It's funny because ESPN has actually been doing a lot of this today. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the 4 topics and we're going to give it an extension. So number 1, biggest loss. Number 2, biggest gain. Number 3, the best moment. And number 4, the best story. So ladies and gentlemen, make sure you like the stream as you come in. Let me know who is in the building. What I'm going to do is I am going to leave the link once again for anybody who wants to come through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the link in for anybody who wants to come in and anybody wants to talk. Let me know who is up in here, who is up in here. Let me know who is up in here for sure. Definitely want you guys to, pop through. And definitely want to get your guys' input on on these 4 topics right now for the 2010s. So I definitely want you guys to come through. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, I want to see who is in the building because I definitely want to talk about these. And I am going live tonight. The Phoenix Suns against the Oklahoma City Thunder. So we got Chris Paul going up against Devin Booker. I thought it was kind of interesting. DeAndre Ayton is out with an ankle injury, I believe, so he's not going to play in that game. So I think it's an interesting matchup. But once again, saying goodbye to the 2010s, I definitely would love to see who is in the building, and I definitely want to check this out for you guys so that we could talk about these 4 topics. So once again, the 4 topics are biggest loss, biggest gain, best moment, best story. Let me know who is in the building. Let me know who is in the building, man. Let me know. I left the link inside. So let me know, man. Definitely want you guys I want your voices to be heard. So I definitely want to, let you guys know. And let's talk about this topic, man. So let me know who is in the building, man. What is up? What is up? What is up? Up, up. What is up? What is up? What is up? Up, up. What is up? What is up? What is up? Up, up. Hope you guys show up to the LBFWN right here on the LBFWN. So let me know who is in there, man. Let me know, man. Looks like it's a little bit slow. Looks like we got 1 person viewing the video, but I want to see who is definitely in here, man. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the LBFWN live stream. It is your boy Lewis, man, back with another one, with another banger, with yet another video. And once again, I say, ladies and gentlemen, 4 topics, saying goodbye to the 2010s. We're talking about the best moment. We are talking about the best story. We are talking about the biggest loss and the biggest gain in the 2010s decade. And what we're going to do is once we talk about those topics, we're going to extend it. And we're going to have an extensive conversation, a little teeny tiny bit on your all-decade team for the 2010s. I want to hear what this is about because we're saying goodbye and we're entering a new, we're transitioning into a new era, into a new decade in, the 2020s. So, once again, let me know who is in here, man. Once again, in the stream. Make sure to check in tonight at 8 p.m. for the Suns and the Thunder. I definitely would like, for you guys to chime in on this topic. Definitely want to see who wants to come in, and I left the link in, and I definitely would love to get your thoughts on the 4 topics that I have mentioned, and see what we want to talk about. So definitely let me know who wants to come in. Definitely, I want to know who is in the building. So hopefully there's an opportunity that you guys come in and definitely get to chat. Before anything, man, I just want to say, man, that this 2019 has been unbelievable this year, and the amount of support that I've received from you guys, and I just want to say thank you. And we're going to go on strong into 2020. Definitely is an awesome feeling, and You guys, mean the world to me with how much you guys have supported me and continue to show support to all my new subscribers, to all my loyal ones, man. And once again, man, your boy Gideon G Money up in the building. He says, "Hey, bro, how are you doing? I am doing great. How are you doing, bro? I'm just trying to get some people to come in so that as soon as we get a couple of people to come in, what I'm gonna do is, like I said, I don't want you to log in yet because I do want you to get up on the panel. But I said, that I wanted to get some new people to come up in here. If nobody happens to come, I definitely will, let you come in. Um, and he tells me, what Christmas games are you looking forward to watching? Well, it's not just that I'm gonna be watching, bro. I'm gonna be doing live games, and so I'm gonna be doing Celtics and Raptors, and I'm gonna be doing Clippers and Lakers for Christmas. So it's gonna be those two games because I think Bucks and Sixers, that's gonna kind of be a lot, and that's gonna be a lot of hours. So I think there should be a nice little break in between. So the Lakers and Clippers at 8 o'clock, and the Celtics and Raptors are gonna start the day at 12. So that should be nice, and I want to see if hopefully Pascal Siakam is playing. Hopefully Fred VanVleet is playing. He's not. He's going to be out. Well, that's right. He's going to be out indefinitely. I forgot the injury that he had, but he's going to be out indefinitely. So I think that it's definitely going to be. It's going to suck that that's not going to happen. But then I would have to probably check in with D if we're going to have to do Bucks Sixers and then wait for that brief period, and then um, hopefully do that Laker game at night because the Rockets and the Warriors are still primed to be on ABC. And we already know the Warriors don't really have anything. And even what is it? Eric Pascal is, I believe he's out with an injury, unless if he came back, because I know he had a hip injury. And then it's like Russell Westbrook and James Harden up against him. I think that's kind of unfair, to be honest. It's kind of not fair. And let me see. Gideon says, "What do you think of the NBA Christmas commercials?" Um, Have I seen any of the Christmas commercials? I don't even know if I've seen any of the Christmas commercials, man. Um, I don't think I've seen them yet. But yo, so bro, looks like nobody's really hopped in yet. So yo, bro, if you want to hop in, I left the link right there in the stream. Um, so and he says Eric Pascal played against the Blazers, so he's healthy. Oh, okay. I haven't seen him play much, as of late. But he's a nice, talented gem that the Warriors have. People are sleeping on the Warriors, man. As much as they've been bad this season, and a lot of people think that they're tanking, they're gonna be back in the mix next year. Best believe. I'm telling you right now. So it's gonna be it's gonna be interesting though. So I want to know. So Gideon G Money, when you get the opportunity, if you want to, come in and we talk about these 4 topics for the 2010 decades, man, definitely pull up and definitely pull up. I already put the link is already in the chat, and he's basically says if you have to replace the Warriors and the Pelicans, what teams do you think should be playing on Christmas? Well, here's the problem. Unfortunately, there's only 5 teams on Christmas, and to replace them is kind of like I don't know who would I put, but the Warriors and Pelicans definitely should not be on there. Those 2 teams should not be on there. Um, who are the Pelicans playing once again? Because I know the Warriors are playing the Rockets. Oh no, they're playing. Are they playing the Nuggets? Or are they playing the Nuggets? No, no, no. They're playing the Nuggets tonight. Who are the? No, or I think they're playing. I believe Denver's playing against the Pelicans that day. Hold on, let me check the Christmas NBA Christmas schedule. Let me check NBA Christmas schedule. So if we were to look, it is they're playing the Nuggets. Why don't you have the Rockets play the Nuggets? I mean, I do that in a heartbeat. The thing is then we would have to look for 2 other teams if we were to make the full 5. So I would take the Pelicans and the Warriors off and have the Rockets play the Nuggets in the 10:30 game. The question is, who would you put for that 5 o'clock game in that 5 o'clock slot? the funny thing is the Clippers and the Lakers, they could be the 5 o'clock game. You would just have to figure out who would be the 8 o'clock game. Maybe you could put the Mavericks against what team could you put? And Rooney says, "What's up, yo?" Shout out to Rooney. What up? What up, bro? Um, so I definitely would like to get you, if you want to. I left the link. Shout out to you, Rooney. If you want to, bro, I want you to check the StreamYard, and I would like you to log in. And we're gonna talk about some. We're gonna talk some topics. And I told you the theme is the saying goodbye to the 2010s. We're talking about biggest loss, biggest gain. We're talking about best moment, best story. So log in. I just want to see. Um, I want to let you know. So quickly, I want you guys to tell me, who do you think? I think the Mavericks could play on Christmas. That'd be a team that you could put on Christmas. The question is, we would have to look for an opponent for Dallas. Who would be a nice opponent for Dallas to play on Christmas? So I would have the Rockets play the Nuggets, the Celtics, Raptors, Bucks, Sixers, Clippers, Lakers, and who else would you want to see play? So I would put Dallas, and then who could their opponent be? If we look into the West, see that's the thing that's kind of tough, man. That's tough. So yeah, Rooney, if you want to come in, man, hop on into the stream. I know Gideon is waiting. Just give me a second, bro. G Money. So if you want to come into the stream, just once again, just right there, just click on and then just log in, and I'll put both of you guys on, and we'll definitely take turns on doing that. So without further to do, let me get my man G Money up in the building. Um,
Hey,
G
bro, how
Money,
you
what is?
doing?
Hey man, I'm doing great, man. How's everything with you on this Friday, man?
Great, great. I think that a game. I think if the Mavericks were on Christmas, you could put the Heat in there. Maybe Mavs and Heat might do
Ooh,
it.
I like that. Mavs and Heat. I'm digging that one. You know what? Yeah. So you know what? We're gonna extend the conversation for the schedule right there. Rooney says Boston. It would have been nice, but the problem is, number one, they played them already, and number two, they're playing the Raptors on Christmas. So you know, so that would be it. But that's a good pick, man. The Miami Heat. So we're gonna read. If we were to redo the schedule, it would be Celtics, Raptors, Bucks, Sixers.
Hmm.
For that 5 o'clock game, I'll put Mavericks and Heat in South Beach. Then I will put Clippers and Lakers at the 8 o'clock game. And then I will put the Pelican and I will put the Nuggets and the Rockets at 10:30. If I was to switch that up, I think
Sure,
those would
but
be.
man, Denver's at home at 10:30.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're at home. Or if you wanted to put them at Houston, I would put the Houston one at the 8 o'clock game, and then have the Lakers and Clippers finish off at 10:30. I mean,
Yeah,
we
that's
could
smart.
you can switch it up. It really depends. So it'll be whatever. So once again, my man Raduni, man, if you want to come in, like I said, bro, just click right here, click the live stream. But so I'm gonna get started with you, bro. Um, who? So we got 4 topics. Once again, we got biggest loss in the 2010s. We have biggest gain, and we're talking about players here. We're talking
Mhm.
about the best moment in the decade, and then we're talking about the best story in the decade. And we're talking; these are all players. So, so G Money, bro, we're gonna get started, and we're gonna talk about, in your opinion, the first topic. We're talking about the biggest loss. Who, in your opinion, was the biggest loss in the entire 2010th decade in terms of players that either ended up they ended up
Lewis, Lewis, dude.
Oh man, ladies and gentlemen, sorry about that. So having some technical difficulties with the stream. Looks like my internet went out. And let me just add Gideon back on. So you there, G Money?
Yeah, I'm there. I'm coming.
Yeah, I apologize, man. It looked like my stream was having some internet connection problems, so it was not able to to connect. So it went out for a second. Um, so once again, ladies and gentlemen, like the stream as you come
Yes.
in. Um, so while we wait for Gideon, let me just wait for him for a second. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, the four topics are, and once again, like the stream as you come in, is best moment. We have best. So let me remove this from the stream right here. Um, so let's see. Can you see me, bro? You there? And I don't see him. Let me see, bro. You there? And I'm not hearing anything right now. So it looks like nobody's on right now. So while I, so let me see. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to says. Let me see again. Looks like he's having issues himself. Let me see if he's able. Let me see.
Yes, I'm there.
All right. Are you good?
Yeah, I'm good. I apologize. My sometimes technology can be a little funky.
My technology was pretty funky too because I was logged out of the internet for a second, so had to be out. So, ladies and gentlemen, we apologize for the technical difficulties. You know how technology can be, especially when your internet and your router are not always in line in sync. They end up going out one at one, one or the other at one time, if not the same time, and then you know you guys are looking at a blank screen. So, anywho, back to what I was talking about before we were so rudely interrupted by the internet service. And the internet service guy said, "We don't want to hear you talk." G Money, in your opinion, what was the biggest loss in the decade in the 2010s by the players?
I
Who, in
say
your opinion?
losing. I say losing Kobe Bryant because Kobe
Hmm.
Bryant's one of the guys that always plays with hard determination, always wants his team to win. I just even though Kobe did kind of struggle after he had the Achilles back in 2013, I just think that his tenacity on the court when he was healthy, you know, brought so much attention to the NBA. And the one of the best games I personally saw from Kobe was his last game when he dropped 60 points on the Jazz and then helped the Lakers, I think, overcome like a 15 or a 60-point deficit against Utah after the Jazz were eliminated from playoff contention that night.
Indeed, man. I like the pick that you chose with Kobe, man, because you know what, and I'm gonna also agree with you, and the reason why I'm gonna say this is because this is how unbelievable Kobe's last season was, and that's why he was one of the biggest losses. A lot of players respect Kobe Bryant. A lot of players who he went up against, they were saying, a lot of times, Kobe, what he meant for the game of basketball. When you're talking about guys like Carmelo and D Wade and LeBron, a lot of his contemporaries who he went up against, they have a lot of respect for him. And even if guys who didn't really like him, they ended up finding a way of respecting him on the court, for what he brought. And what's really crazy is that look at it this way: people paid attention to Kobe's retirement on his last game compared to the night that Golden State won their 73rd game and broke the Bulls' 96 record. And the crazy part was that was a historic season in itself. And the Golden State Warriors were the defending champions. But Kobe Bryant, his last game overshadowed that night. So it's crazy how you really couldn't even pay attention. It was like I was trying to pay attention to the Warriors make history, but then I was paying attention to Kobe's last game, and I'm thinking to myself, you know what? Maybe Kobe's gonna have maybe like 20 points. He probably might get maybe just a couple of shots. He might not even play a lot. But Kobe, yeah, he ends up taking 50 shots, and a lot of fans are like, well, typical Kobe, shot jacker. But the man scored 60 points at age 37, so he was able to leave. He was able to leave. In typical Mamba fashion. So
Exactly.
you know, and on his last pass it was an assist. And I said, yo, it's crazy. He was getting praise from MJ at the All Star game. He was getting praise from Magic. He was getting the praise from so many people. To see him retire. And I agree. And you made a great point. Kobe was not the same after the Achilles injury. It was at times it was kind of sad watching him play. You know, he wasn't able to play at the level he was capable of playing at. And you saw him in his 17th season at age 34 have one of the most underrated seasons, of his career. That 2013 season doesn't get enough praise for what it was. He had a great year at age 34 when a lot of people thought that Kobe Bryant was pretty much done after 2011, 2012. So, I definitely agree with you that I think that he was arguably the biggest loss of the decade. And the funny thing is, Tim Duncan and KG went more quietly than Kobe Bryant did.
Mm,
Kobe was a much more loud impact on what he meant for the game. You're talking about guys like Kareem and Oscar Robinson and Dr. J. All of these NBA great players, talk about Kobe the way they do. And the crazy part is both Tim Duncan, KG, and Kobe Bryant are finalists for the 2020 Hall of Fame. And the funny thing is, Tim Duncan and KG, obviously, they're going to get a standing ovation and they're going to have a lot of fans. But I'm telling you, no one is going to have the love and adoration that Kobe's going to have when his Hall of Fame speech is up. You can guarantee there will be a lot of Laker fans in Springfield. So it just tells you what Kobe meant, when he retired. So yeah, no, big ups to Kobe Bryant and big ups to UG Money, for mentioning that topic. For mentioning, Kobe. I'm pretty sure there's probably a couple of honorable mentions. You talk about guys like Allen Iverson, like I said, you talk about Kevin Garnett, you talk about Tim Duncan. Those guys just went more quietly than Iverson and Kobe because Iverson and Kobe got two of the biggest fan bases in the league in the NBA. At the time they played. And there's probably a couple more. But once again, we are on to the next topic. So we talked about the biggest loss, and I think both of us can agree it's arguably Kobe. Somebody else is probably thinking that it probably could be somebody different. Let us know in the chat if you happen to pull up in the stream. Um, and Freddie Gee, brother, do you want to get up on this stream? We're doing the 2010s. I don't know if you're at work. But if you're not, let me know, bro. I want you to put this stream right here. I'll put the link up, and you could pop on through, and we could definitely, get your take on the 2010s. We could just pretty much run it back. So if you want, just pretty much pop in, and I'll have you come in as a guest, man. Appreciate you, man. So G Money, next topic. And Freddie, if you happen to pop through, just let me know, man. And just log in, and I'll have you come in through in the studio. Shout out to Freddie Gee, always a true supporter, man. But G Money, who in your opinion is the biggest gain for the NBA? Like, what player do you think has been a benefit for the NBA and is going to be, he's going to be big in the, future? Oh, damn. Freddie says he's headed to work now. Oh, all right. All right. It is what it is. But shout out to Freddie showing support. But anybody who comes through and definitely wants to pop in, just let me know. Just come. He's just gonna pop in and pop out the chat. Appreciate you. But once again, G Money, who in your opinion do you think was the biggest gain for the NBA? And there's a lot of people we could talk about: Giannis Antetokounmpo, Luka Doncic, Trey Young. A lot of guys, probably a lot of guys. But who in your opinion, AD? But who in your opinion is the biggest gain for the NBA coming into
I
this
say
league?
I say more of Greek Freak. Yeah, I say Giannis because he plays with so much determination and heart, man. He's never scared to fail. He always works his butt off. He's a very good underrated passer. He's very good at slashing to the paint. His jumper's much improved now than it was when he first came into the league back in 2013-14. And remember, for back-to-back years, like last year, he won the MVP when his team won 60 games and they only had one and they only lost back-to-back games one time in January. And then even most of the playoffs until they lost the last 4 games to the Raptors, Milwaukee was just running through everybody. Like they crushed Detroit, ran through Boston, who many people thought the Celtics were going to be the next team in the 2010s to maybe dominate when the Warriors' time is up with that Kyrie Irving. And then this year the Bucks are 25-4 after losing Malcolm Brogdon and Nikola Mirotic. And the way it looks now, I like the way Giannis is playing. He's moving the ball, he's finding the open man. His jumper is much more improved, and he's very dynamic when he goes to the paint. The only thing he needs to really work on is his free throws. But other than that, I think Giannis is the biggest gain because of his heart and determination, and he really wants to carry the NBA to his shoulders, though. So yeah, I think it's Greek freak though. And who knows? The way the Bucks are constructed, they may win the championship this year. What do you think?
So before I answer the question in terms of the biggest game for the NBA, the Bucks, in my opinion, they have a chance to get there. The only thing is, I feel like the Sixers defensively give them a tough matchup. But the only problem that I have is I question the Sixers in terms of their offense and what that's going to look like in the playoffs with Embiid and Simmons. In terms of the Bucks, they can get there. I just think as long as the thing for me is Giannis doesn't have a second star. That's kind of a
Mm-hmm.
problem when you're facing teams from the Western Conference. That's number one. Number two, um, in the Eastern Conference, the one team that I really think that really poses a threat. See, if this team could get their act together offensively, I would say Philly. But you could say the Raptors, but to me, they don't have enough firepower offensively in their starting lineup. Pascal Siakam just can't be the guy, and I don't. And the thing is, the way that Kyle Lowry played last year, I don't expect him to play that way this year. Just because, again, that security blanket in Kawhi Leonard is not there, so they're not going to me have enough. Because then I would have to say if Fred VanVleet is the better player, then you would put him in the starting lineup, and then Kyle Lowry would come off the bench. My thing is Kyle Lowry going to play any different coming off the bench as compared to being in starting lineup? You don't know. I don't know about that. So I think that offensively, see the Raptors, they still have their defensive principles, but I just don't know offensively if they're going to have the firepower that the Bucks have. And the thing is, you're asking Pascal Siakam as the guy in the postseason. I don't know if he's ready for that yet. So the Bucks to me still have the best opportunity. I mean, you're still looking at Indiana to see what they look like when Oladipo comes back, and they've been pretty good with their team. I don't think they're going to go as deep though. And then Boston, like I said, Kemba has been a good fit. Gordon Hayward, he's very good when he's healthy, but then it's like again, I question them again. They don't to me have that star power that is with Giannis Antetokounmpo. So I think they can get to the finals. If Philly can get their act together, they pose a very good matchup against them. But I think the Bucks will get to the finals. If they were to play like the Lakers, I can't see them beating the Lakers in a 7 game series. Uh, unless if the Lakers if the Lakers don't fix their bench, if the Lakers don't defend the three, then we're gonna see what happens like last night. Um, because Chris Middleton, Giannis was in foul trouble, Chris Middleton was in foul trouble, and I've heard a lot of people talk about, oh well, the Lakers only lost by 7, but people forget that the Lakers made their run when Middleton and Giannis went to the bench, so they
I
were in
agree.
foul trouble.
I agree. What people need to understand is that, like you said, the Buck star players really, yeah, Middleton, Youngs were in foul trouble too much, but the other Bucks stabilized. Like George Hill had a big game off the bench. Kyle Korver hit some big shots. Brooke Lopez, he was aggressive. Wes Matthews hit some big threes. And the only Lakers that stand out to me last night were Anthony Davis in the second half. Danny Green was red hot from three, and KCP had a good. I know LeBron had a triple double, which is good, but in my opinion, it didn't really have much of an impact in the game. If you really watch the whole game, though, because the Lakers were really in a huge deficit, and it didn't really matter much because I didn't see this aggressive LeBron in the first half when Giannis, was being aggressive, attacking the rim, and then his perimeter shot was starting to go down. So yeah, what do you think?
Uh, People need to remember this also. AD may have been injured. It looks like he may have been kind of gimpy on his ankle because there was some finishes that he could have finished. But also, he struggled when he was being guarded by Giannis Antetokounmpo compared to everybody else, and he didn't get going until the second half. And the thing with
Mm-hmm.
LeBron that I'm not liking about him is that number one, they're deferring way too much to Anthony Davis, and I could tell that against. And this is my thing: LeBron is a great player, and he's one of the greatest to ever play. The issue that I have is, and I'm noticing this from LeBron, it's when he faces these top competitive basketball teams, is when I see a lot of deferring from LeBron, and he tends to get very passive and not aggressive. And all I hear from the analysts are like, LeBron is the greatest driver, or LeBron is unstoppable. But then it's like he doesn't play like it when he has to go up against his competition. And it's like when he plays good teams to mediocre teams, it's like, they're calling him the greatest and all that. And it's like, yo, LeBron, you're an amazing player. Dude, number one, he has to stop turning the ball over. He's he's played pretty much point forward his whole career. It's just now that all of a sudden they're saying, "Oh, let's move you to the actual point guard position." It's like, no, your offense, the LeBron James system, you've been pretty much the point guard pretty much mostly your entire career. So this isn't nothing new. It's just now they want to say he's officially moved to the point guard position because now he's really playing point guard. But the thing is, when you have the ball in your hands a lot, you're going, especially when the offense is very LeBron centric, you're expected to be turning the ball over as much as he does. So I'm just saying to myself, like, okay, you should have LeBron AD. Listen, that's why I say what people are saying LeBron is making AD better. AD can get those numbers even without Bron. Like he's been averaging those numbers before. So I'm like, yo, it's not. I'm just saying to myself, like, it's not. AD can get those numbers. His rebounds are slightly down a little bit because the
Mm-hmm.
Lakers are collectively a much better rebounding team because they got Dwight Howard and they got JaVale McGee. But I'm just saying to myself, like, it's not a big, it's really not much a big deal. So before I continue, let me go into the comments. Freddie Gee says, so are the Bucks ready or not? Milwaukee beat the Clippers and the Lakers, so we can't keep holding on to Giannis. Don't have a second star. You don't understand. You got to understand something. You got to understand something. Are you banking on Chris Middleton and Eric Bledsoe to be there with Giannis when Giannis does not have a jump shot? See, that's my problem. The regular season, it looks nice. It looks nice. And people are going to say the Bucks are the best team. My question is that going to be the same thing in the postseason? So we could talk about, oh, Milwaukee beat the Clippers, Milwaukee beat this. My question is, are you really dependent on a Chris Middleton who makes it
Mm-hmm.
the amount of money that he does? And to me, he's not really a legit second star. Is you
True.
could say that, oh, he's an all-star, but he's an all-star by name. But I'm honestly telling you, are you really going to depend on that dude in the postseason? Because last year, remember what happened to George Hill, remember what happened to Chris Middleton, remember what happened to the rest of that team once they built the run around Giannis Antetokounmpo. And that was after winning the first two games against the Raptors. They ended up losing the series. Now I will say that the Bucks should have won game three, but they kind of blew that one. And that game went to overtime. And to me, the Raptors looked kind of scared playing. It looked like they were ready to lose that series and go down 3-0. But once they won, they got their confidence back up. So Freddie Gee goes on to also say, that's only in the regular season, Lou. We know Bron turns it up a couple of notches in the playoffs. Dude, I get all that. That's not what I'm saying. Giannis obviously has to do that. But I'm also saying that if Giannis doesn't have it, will his team show up? And with LeBron, are we going to see LeBron? Are we going to see the LeBron James system, or are we going to see a team system? That's what we have to remain and see, man. So we have to remain and see. AD gets the numbers, but the shots are easier with Bron. I get all that once again, too, man. But again, you're not understanding it. So are you going to say that? So let's see. Is AD's impact has AD's impact been felt defensively? Is his impact been felt defensively? Um, or is the media gonna say that Bron is making it easy for AD because AD is pushing LeBron to play defense? I mean, and that in itself is the truth. Yeah, he's getting some easy baskets from LeBron. I give him that. But AD can also get hit. He can get his too. So um so we gotta also say that AD has impacted LeBron playing defense. We gotta say that as well. So that's important. So G Money says that Giannis Antetokounmpo, in his opinion, is the biggest gain for the NBA. Okay, who do I say is the biggest gain for the league? I mean, if Giannis gets the jump shot on a consistent basis, you're talking about the scare. You're talking about the new face of the NBA. Luka Doncic could possibly be the biggest gain in the NBA as well because I've never seen a player who is not as fast, a player who is not as athletic, um, can still be able to impact the game like Luka Doncic does. So you're going to go with Giannis Antetokounmpo, and I feel you because he's been an MVP. But what Luka is doing in his first 2 years in the league, it's nothing short of amazing. So it's been nothing short of amazing, and I think with Luka Doncic's numbers being better than they were last year on a Mavericks team that even though they got Kristaps Porzingis and he's still trying to work his way into form, for them to be in the top four in the Western Conference um, has been nothing short of amazing in just 2 short years. And Luka has already impacted the league, very very quickly. So and shout out before I continue. Shout out to Jay in the building. AD doesn't need LeBron to get those shots, but he is eating humble pie. 0-2 since those comments. Hey, um, true that. Yo, Jay, do you want to come through on this stream, bro? I will put the link up. If you want to come through, just hit the stream yard, and like I said, we'll run it back. In terms of the topic. So the topics are again biggest loss, biggest gain, biggest moment, and biggest story. So let me know if you want to come through. If you're not busy or you happen to be available, just come through right here. And shout out to Jay who's able to come through, man. And he says, "Hey, amen, everybody." Oh, G Money, Freddie Gee also gave you a shout out anyway. So he says it right here. Shout out to G Money. So right there for
What's up,
Freddie
Fred?
Gee. And okay, so like I was saying, I think Luka Doncic to me has been the biggest game for the NBA, just to me because it lets you know that he's going to be one of the few stars that, along with a guy like Giannis Antetokounmpo, as we head into the 2020s, we're going to be having conversations on best player in the NBA. I think Luka Doncic also what it does for the European market in terms of like the fan base. Well, you could even say that for Greek Freak too because he was raised in France and all that and he just won an MVP. But it's like Luka Doncic, when you look at his trajectory of what he could possibly be, I mean, this guy could possibly be most improved player, and Giannis already won that award. He's doing it at the point guard position, and what's impressed me about him is that Giannis is a freak of nature.
Mhm.
He could play defense, and I would put those guys as kind of 1 and 1A, but they have different styles. Luka's doing it with being more crafty and being more skilled. Like he's imposing his will without having to be dominant. He can impose his will without having to really be dominant. And I think that this has been a really big game for the NBA in terms of what he's been able to do. So I pick Luka Doncic to me as for me the biggest gain in the NBA, just because of what he's done for the Mavericks. Um, and are you wait? You says Jay says I'm waiting. I'm watching. Thank you though. Oh, you're just gonna watch? Oh, okay, no problem. Um, there's no doubt. So G Money, we're gonna move on to the next topic. So I pick Luka Doncic, you pick Giannis Antetokounmpo. The next topic is going to be what was the best moment of the 2010s? The best moment, in your opinion, for the 2010s? I got quite a few that I could think was the best moment. But what, in your opinion, is the best moment in this decade?
In my opinion, I think it was the Raptors winning the championship. Again,
Ooh,
I'm a Knicks fan. I'm not a Raptors fan. I'm a Knicks
me
fan.
too.
But I
I'm an
think
next as
I
well.
yeah, I think Toronto winning the title is the best one in 2010s because like remember the last Canadian team to win a championship was like in the 90s, I think. So yeah, so and the Raptors, I'm talking with somebody. Hang on, man. I'm talking with somebody. Okay, I'm talking. Can you close the door? Okay, I'm talking with somebody. Close the door, please.
We wait for G Money.
I apologize, man. It's like it's my annoying sister. I
But
apologize.
it's all good, man. It's all good, man. Continue, bro.
All right, so I think it's the Raptors winning the championship because it's like I said, the Raptors were known as playoff disappointments. You know, a team that can never get it done at the brightest moments, and then for them to have their playoff run, they did. They beat a red hot Magic team, and people forget Orlando finished the season 22-9 after they started off 20-31, and they had like the best defensive rating in the second half of the season to leapfrog themselves into the playoffs. And then we all remember the DJ Augusty game when he had what 25 points in that game and hit the game winner over Marcus All, and then Kyle had zero. At first it looked like, oh man, the Raptors would get upset by the Magic, but then after that it went four in a row, including winning a tough game three in Orlando. Then they beat a really good 76ers team, and some people compared Philly starting five last year to Golden State starting five. They beat that Sixers team in 7 games. And remember, they were down 2-1. They had to go to Philadelphia in game four and take care of business. I remember Spicy P in that game was questionable because I think he was sick or something. Then Kawhi had 39 points, including the buzzer beater. It wasn't a game winner. They were up by one at the time, including the shot over Joel Embiid in game four to put Toronto up by four and ended up winning that game. And then we all remember the Kawhi game winner in game seven when it bounced up and in. And then against Milwaukee, they were down 2-0 in that series. They choked away game one, got smashed in game two, and like you said, in game three, they were playing mostly scared. We're in double overtime, and the Bucks, despite Giannis only having 16 points and Chris Middleton and Eric Bledsoe struggling in that game, it still went to double overtime, and the Raptors were kind of scared at times, but they finally pulled through in game three. They dominated game four. And then in game five, they were down like 14 points. I think it was like 16-2 or whatever to start that game. And then remember, they came back led by Kawhi Leonard, who had 35 in that game, and Fred VanVleet, who had 21, hit 7 threes in game five. And in game six, again, the Raptors were down 16, I think, 15 or 16 in game six, and it came all the way back to pull through in that, and they advanced to their first ever NBA Finals. And then the NBA Finals, they prevented a Warriors three-peat. Yes, the Warriors were injured, losing Kevin Durant most of the series, and then Klay Thompson missing game three, and then missing most, and then getting hurt in game six. But I'm just saying that Toronto earned that championship. You know what I mean, Lewis? They worked their
Yeah,
butt off for it. And we can't prove. And again, we will never know what would have happened if both teams were healthy. Because don't forget, OG Anunoby for the Raptors didn't play because he was hurt too. Don't sleep
yeah.
on that.
Yep, that's right. And no, he was a very big piece, and people don't understand how good defensively he was. That was another defender that they could have thrown. So if Kevin Durant was there, that could have been another body that they could have thrown at him. When he was in the finals. And let's face it, nobody really can stop KD, but you can slow him down a bit. Um, so G Money, my man G Money says the best moment for him was the Raptors winning the championship because of what it did for a Canadian team, for a country. That's where basketball was invented. That's where basketball started. It's crazy how it came full circle. And I said that they won their championship as the in their 23rd season. You know, so um, you know what? I gotta say something too. This I'm gonna put three other moments for me. So I have, so in my opinion, I have this. I have the Cavaliers winning the championship in 2016, and Cleveland having a 52-year drought, never winning a championship in franchise history, coming back from 3-1 against the Golden State Warriors. You also have Dirk and the Mavericks with that historic 2011 playoff run, knocking off the Heatles, the Miami Heat, winning Game 6 in Miami, and Dirk winning his first championship when many people predicted that the Heat were going to roll over the Mavericks. That was a huge moment in them beating the Miami Heat, and they beating the Blazers. They beat the Lakers, sweep the Lakers. They beat the Thunder, that young OKC team, and then beating them. So you have that. I like what you said about the Raptors. That was a big moment in the 2010s. You also have, obviously, you got the Ray Allen shot. Even though it was the biggest shot, it was actually one of the biggest moments in finals history. Obviously, so that was a huge moment in terms of what it did. But I think for me, in terms of the biggest moment, uh, And I think your moment is very big just because of what happened with Kawhi Leonard. Remember, he missed 73 games. You have to
Hmm.
also remember that he got traded to a team that he did not pick because he wanted to be with an LA team. He ends up getting traded to a team to far away in the Eastern Conference, and then in one foul swoop, he helps elevate that team to an NBA championship in 1 year, and all of a sudden, man, had the entire city of Toronto up in arms, and look how they love him because of what he meant to that organization in just 1 year's time. They have their first and only championship so far. I think for me though, I think it has to be Dirk and the Dallas Mavericks beating the Miami Heat in 2011 because I think when you look at them, when you have to understand the Miami Heat, and I mentioned this in the first part of the 2010s video when we talked about the offseason move, and you mentioned about Kevin Durant, and I like that one that you picked that one in terms of the offseason move for the Warriors. The Miami Heat were the most hated team in NBA history in one season, the most
Hmm.
scrutinized team. They were projected to win the championship. They were projected to win 70 games. LeBron predicted 6 or 7 titles, when they came together in July. It was the biggest offseason move in my opinion before it was the biggest offseason move right before KD. You're talking about Wade and Bosh coming together in their prime with LeBron, and LeBron hadn't entered in their prime yet. They had not, none of them had reached the age of 30 yet. People predicted that this was going to be the next dynasty. And for Dirk Nowitzki to do what he did, for him to do that, uh, you know, that to me was pretty crazy. And to be honest with you, it was sort of a redemption for Dirk against D Wade, even though the two teams were different. Because remember, when Dallas blew that 2-0 lead against the Heat in the NBA Finals in 2006, Dirk ended up having a couple of playoff series where he ended up choking, and people were thinking Dirk was never going to win an NBA title again. If you
Hmm.
remember 2007 against Golden State and Dallas having the best record in the league, Dirk being the MVP of the league, and people think Dallas was going to win the championship, and then they get upset by the Golden State Warriors, who had to go 18-5 in their last 23 games just to make the playoffs as the number 8 seed, and their head coach being Don Nelson, who the head coach of the Mavericks was Avery Johnson. I think that was crazy. So, I thought that was sweet redemption for Dirk after being labeled the choker after that. The next couple of playoffs that would happen after in
Hmm.
'06 when they blew that 2-0 lead. And Dallas, to me, was clearly the better team in that series, too. They just choked that series away. I
And
thought
don't forget
today,
too, in Game Three, they also blew a 13-point lead in the fourth quarter in Game Three. Don't forget about that.
oh no, that's what I'm saying because they blew a 2-0 lead and they literally were up 13 in that game. They should have won that game. And game five came down to a bad foul call that was called on Dirk when Dwayne went to the free throw line. I still call that a phantom foul. That should have never happened in that situation. Dallas really emotionally and psychologically that affected them for the next couple of years after that. And for Dirk to be able to get sweet redemption on the Heat, but more importantly, man, to do it against entering prime Braun, a prime D Wade, and an entering prime Chris Bosh, with the Miami Heat. I thought that was crazy. Shout out to Jay. Let me go into the comments real quick before we go on to the next topic. Uh,
Hmm.
into the Mets moment. Freddie says Giannis has to put up 38 points, 16 rebounds, 6 assists, and 62 field goal percentage. He can't lower his regular season averages when the playoffs come around. I got high expectations for Giannis. I think he can do it though. I mean, the thing is that we're gonna see. We're gonna see. Let me get your thoughts on that comment right there that Freddie D said right there. What do you think about that? You think Giannis can raise his game to the next level in the postseason, or are we gonna see Giannis once again possibly facing a team that's gonna build a wall and his teammates are gonna have to beat them to where he can't get to the basket?
I say, I think Giannis will raise it a little bit, but like you said, his teammates need to come through in the clutch, especially Chris Middleton, Eric Bledsoe, Brook Lopez. These guys need to play well on both sides of the ball if they want to win. I mean, yes, Giannis will get his numbers, but like I said, the only way you can slow down Giannis is if you let him shoot the jump shot. I understand his jumper is much more improved now, but it's still not fully all the way there. So I'm just saying that guys like Middleton and Bledsoe need to come up large in the playoffs if Milwaukee wants to be successful. Because against Toronto last year, when Giannis was struggling the last few games, Middleton and Bledsoe didn't really come through. So if these guys could be consistent down the stretch, down the stretch, then Milwaukee could have a very long playoff run.
Yeah, and I think with Chris Middleton, the thing is that Giannis doesn't really have a reliable second option. Chris Middleton can give you some nice numbers, but it's like he's inconsistent. It comes and goes. You need a constant, reliable second option that when Giannis goes to the bench, the offense doesn't change. The offense doesn't get stagnant. It's like you have a reliable second. See, you have a guy like Anthony Davis. You have a reliable second option. When LeBron sits, you still got AD. Who's going to be that guy for Milwaukee? We don't know, and that's what I'm saying. And Eric Bledsoe, I mean, the guy disappeared in the postseason, and so I don't know if you can rely on him. To me, he thrives off of matchups that don't have a very good point guard. That's to me, if he's going up against a slow point guard, he'll thrive off of that. But I don't think he's going to do that when you face a guy that teams that can load up on him and make it difficult for him to where you even cut off his drives and he has to shoot jump shots because he's not a consistent jump shooter neither. So that's the
Mm-hmm.
thing with him too. Um, so getting back, so let me look in the comments real quick. Uh, what you call it? So Freddie said, "Oh no, sorry." Jay says Dirk beating the Heat is on the list. He redeemed himself versus Wade in the Heat organization. The Heat had a couple of best players in the league at that time too. That's why I said for me that was big, especially with considering that first season. That was a very competitive season, and we honestly thought that after the Celtics getting knocked off in the second round, and then they knocked off the team with the best record, the Chicago Bulls. I'm thinking to myself, okay, the Heat, they're going to win this championship because the Mavericks can't deal with their athleticism and their defense, especially with their two wings. And they proved me wrong. So, you know, so that's interesting. D, do you want to get in on this chat, bro? Let me know if you want to, man. I'll send the link for you, man. If you want to come through for this one, I'm gonna send you the email and let me just do this real quick, G Money, while I talk, and so we'll do that, and let me just send that to him,
Mm-hmm.
and all right, so it looks like the message was sent, and let me click off on that, and all right, oh cool, and he says he's gonna get ready to jump in, so shout out to you, man, and shout out to D, and so I'm gonna run it back for D. But anyway, like I was saying, that was important. G Money, we didn't even mention this. How about the Spurs getting their redemption against the Miami Heat in 2014? After losing the way they did heartbreakingly in 2013 in 7 games and coming back and beating them in 2014. What do you think about that moment? You think that was a big moment too?
It was an amazing moment. Yeah, it was great because San Antonio, they had the best record in the NBA that year. They went through all the criticism for choking against Miami in 2013 in Game 6. And don't forget, in Game 7 too that year in 2013, they could have won. But remember, Tim Duncan missed a runner and a putback that would have tied the game, and LeBron hit the jumper, and that was it. Don't sleep on that. But after that, they used the loss for motivation. They got stronger. They ran through the Western Conference. But people forget about the Spurs were a great team in 2014. But remember, San Antonio almost lost in the first round to an 8 seed Mavs team. Don't forget. And then after that, then they got stronger and stronger when the playoffs went around. They ran through Portland in the semifinals. They beat up OKC in 6 games in the conference final. And then against Miami, they not only did they win the series in 5, here's what's crazy. They won game 1 due to them shooting around like 70% in the fourth quarter or whatever. Then game 2, they lost that. Game 3 and 4, not only did they win both Miami, they crushed the Heat in both games. And then game five, I remember game five when they won the title. They were actually down 22-6 to start game five. And then Ginobili and Parker and Kawhi settled in and they just dominated the whole way through. Patty Mills looked like Steph Curry at times in the series, and they just crushed the Heat in five. That was a great moment because it prevented a Heat dynasty. It prevented a Heat ultra dynasty for them to get the three-peat. And it was the last championship of the Duncan, Pop, Ginobili, Parker era.
Right, man, and people forget also, man. People were saying that with LeBron, he has some great numbers, and when you look at the stat sheet, LeBron looks like he ultimately had an amazing series, and he shot 55% from the field. He averaged 27 points and almost what is it, 8 rebounds, and I think 7 assists or something like that.
Hmm.
But the crazy part is that what they don't tell you is if you look at proper context, uh, his numbers were actually down in 3 of the 5 games, and he actually struggled, especially when he was being guarded by Kawhi Leonard. It was when Kawhi Leonard was not in the game when LeBron came in was when he was able to get some of his points in garbage time, and then that was able to boost up his field goal percentage. But by that point, uh, the Spurs put on a clinic on the Miami Heat, and they were beating
Hmm.
them. They were beating them in all phases, and that was they beat them with the crazy ball movement. Ginobili came back. The crazy part was Ginobili did not look like himself in 2013. He was turning the ball over. He was missing shots. He was actually showing his age in 2013, and then in 2014 it was like if he turned 30 years old again, and he was just dominating, making plays. Like it was a total team effort for the Spurs, and they definitely it was an amazing moment for them because here's what's so crazy about their championship. The other 4 championships that they won were in odd years. And it looks like their 2013 title was going to be another odd year that they won a championship.
Hmm.
But they ended up winning in an even year in 2014 for their
Yeah.
fifth title. So, I think that was pretty amazing. So G Money, man, the last topic in terms of the 2010, and hopefully D is able to check in and we get him. Uh, what's been the best story of the decade? What, in your opinion, has been the best story for the 2010s as we close out the 2010 era and we enter into the 2020s? And before you answer that question, lower down. Um, Shout out to my main man, and you already know who this is, G Money. D, the Godfather Jefferson is in the building, bro. What is up, D, man? How is
What's
it
up?
going?
What's
Shit,
up, fellas? What's up, G Money? What's good with you, brother?
doing great. You?
Oh, I'm good, man. Just working, working, working. I already done been on about 4 lives. I did 2 lives
Woo!
myself, and I'm
God
rocking
damn.
out with you guys.
All right, that's what's up. Yo, so D, man, we about to run it back. So the theme of this live is basically saying goodbye to the 2010s. We're doing a part 2 edition. I wish Layla was here, but unfortunately she's probably not gonna be here probably till like later. She's probably busy. But shout out to her anyway. But so basically we're doing 4 topics, and the 4 topics were who was the biggest loss for the NBA in the decade? Who was the biggest gain in the NBA? So players coming in. What was the best moment, in your opinion, in the 2010s? And then we were just gonna do that last one, and then we could pretty much all chime in on this one. Which was the best story in the league? And then we're gonna kind of open it up in terms of the 2010s kind of starting team and players and stuff like that. So we're gonna kind of open it up for that.
All right. Well, I want to say this: the best story for me, and of course, this is subjective, and
Mm-hmm.
the best story for me in the 2010, all of 2010, is Derrick Rose.
Mm.
To me, Derrick Rose is the best story, man. Um,
Okay.
Hmm.
he faced some really significant injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Mentally, he was shot at one point. He was mentally shot at one point. And to see him back performing the way he's performing and doing the things he's doing, no, it's not the MVP Derrick Rose, but this is a damn good Derrick Rose that we have. And I think for me personally, that goes down as the greatest story of the 2010s. Uh, the biggest loss is my man, Kobe 2-4, man. Kobe
The
is the
Black
biggest
Mamba.
loss, man. The mama leaving, like, I don't care, love him or hate him. God damn. since Jordan, that was the man like that we had to listen. You know, when Jordan left, it was always who's going to be the next Jordan. Even when he was around, it was Penny Hardaway. They talked about it one time. Some people were even talking Tracy McGrady, Vince Carter, because of the way he could dunk. Grant Hill before the injuries. It was always about who could be the next Jordan.
Facts.
Kobe was the closest by far, hands down. He modeled his game after the great Jordan.
Exactly.
And the things that he achieved, the 81 points, the 5 championships, the doing it without Shaquille O'Neal, the putting the dagger in all the teams he put the dagger in. Kobe was the biggest loss for me in the 2010s, man. I kind of got lost on the other two because I just had to give it up for my man Kobe. But the other two, Derrick Rose, definitely the biggest story for me. Kobe, the biggest loss.
No question. No, it's good, D. And you brought, I couldn't have said that better myself, especially with the way you talked about Kobe on that last one. And me and G Money, we're gonna give our opinions on pretty much what the best story was. But the other two were the biggest gain in the league and then the best moment. So, what in your opinion was the best moment and the biggest gain in the league in the 2010s?
In the 2010s, wow. With so many big games. That's a tough one. I want to marinate on that one right quick. The biggest game. And what was the last one? I want to think about
the biggest moment of the 2010s.
In your opinion.
Biggest moment. The biggest moment of the 2010s for me, and this is just for me, is when my man KD decided to trump LeBron. Over there with the when KD trumped LeBron and said, "Okay, damn it, you want to do it like this? Well, I'm going to do this." And then he went over there. Not only did he go to the team, he iced LeBron himself in the championships. And so for me, I think it was all over the news. Anybody who's an NBA fan was like, holy hell, Durant to the Warriors. And it changed the scope of what we see today in the game. That literally, like LeBron changed the mode of how things are going to happen. But that Durant move changed the scope of everything. It changed the whole scope of the league. And had it not been for that Durant move, we probably wouldn't be so even as we are now. That was significant in making playing even and spread out the way that it is now. So if for me, Durant making that move, that was the biggest moment in the 2010s for me. That game, I'm going to have to think about, because when you guys asked me that, I thought about 4. Like, they just start coming in my head. I thought about 4 games. So y'all give me a little time on that one. Let me get y'all input. I hope y'all and everybody in the chat appreciated my thoughts on the first 3 topics.
No. D. The way that you came with that Kevin Durant one, especially with what he did in the finals, and at that point, in that moment, people were thinking, is now KD the best player? So no, it's very true. And the thing is, it wasn't just the fact that he came to that team, he dominated. So it wasn't like he did his thing. So, and the fact that he scored 30 and he had a 50-40-90 in that final series, he dominated to get that MVP award. People were saying, arguably now, is LeBron time up? That was the question he asked. And then to go back on your point, when he joined, the Golden State Warriors, it was like, okay, people were saying, oh, he ruined the NBA. Then the stigma was Warriors.
I just think it was just more people just being salty because the Warriors were starting to become the team to dominate the 2010s. I understand it could be annoying seeing another team, not your team, dominate, but I just think that's just somebody being salty because it's like, look, I understand Durant going to the Warriors kind of, I can't say ruin parity, but I know it was kind of annoying. But don't forget, like I said, in 2018, I know you want to bring up Iguodala being hurt, but this is just my opinion. Chris Paul being remember, the Rockets had a 3-2 lead. There's a very good chance that if he doesn't get hurt or the Rockets don't miss 27 straight threes, period, in Game 7, maybe the Warriors don't make the finals that year. You know what I mean? And even last year with Kevin Durant. They went 6 games with a 8 seed Clippers team that nobody thought the Clippers were going to make the playoffs last year. So yeah, the Warriors were an amazing team with Kevin Durant, but they weren't unbeatable. You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to tell people. No team is unbeatable.
And let me take y'all back. Let me rewind this. Just going on my point with the Kevin Durant move. Take y'all back to just a little bit of history. The year after Kevin Durant first went there and they won the championship, Adam Silver said something very, very significant, which is why I have this on and why I spoke about where we are in the league today. Adam Silver said, everybody calm down. This is not one of those things where we're going to have this Celtics-style dynasty and they're going to take over the league. This is going to drive the other teams to get better. And he dropped jewels on that when he said that, because that's exactly what it did. It drove the other teams to make moves, get themselves in order, get better. And look at what we have today. Remember, I talked about that power shift before the league started, where even out the East and even out the West. You know, some may consider the East to be as strong as the West right now. And it wasn't like that. And that whole Durant, that changed the scope of the league, man. So, you know, Adam Silver dropped the gem on that, man. We've seen a lot of things change. And it's only going to get better next season, guys. We have a great draft class coming out and so many free agents coming into this next season. It's going to be even better. So, you know, shout out to Durant, Trump and LeBron changing the scope of the game, the league.
And but I want to and not to interrupt you guys, I'm sorry, but in your opinion, KD and Clay were healthy. Let's say both teams, say the Raptors and the Warriors were healthy. Do you think the Warriors would have?
They would have won.
Because here's the thing: the reason that I think that the Warriors will win, you remember, you have to understand they got DeMarcus Cousins fully healthy. Don't forget him. He didn't look like DeMarcus Cousins with the injury. So you got a healthy DeMarcus Cousins. That means that you got somebody who could go against Marcus Gasol. Then you also have Klay Thompson. Remember what he was doing in Game 6. He had 33 points before he got injured. Okay? So let's remember that. And then also remember that what Kevin Durant did in Game 5 in the sample size of minutes he had. He was 4 for 4 from the field and he had 11 points, and Kawhi could not guard him. And the thing is, Kawhi could put his best defensive effort on Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant could just shoot over the top. It's just things that Kevin Durant does, those little things that just say that they were still going to be in it. And the thing is, look how much it was harder to double Steph Curry when Kevin Durant was on the floor. It makes that much of a difference now. So that's why I say that a fully healthy Golden State Warrior team playing the style of play that they play. And the thing, and I look at it this way also, even if the Raptors had a Game 7 at home, the problem that I have is that the Raptors, that would have been a different kind of pressure that they would have been dealing with, because they're at home and it's the NBA Finals. So then it would have been like, the Warriors have been there before, so they know what it takes to win, and with the championship. And they remember the Game 7 loss in 2016. But in my opinion, it's like they've already have experience winning, so they know what it takes to win. You're putting a Kawhi Leonard who's in a different situation. You're the guy on a team that is now in a Game 7 at home with the home court advantage, and you have to deal with Kyle Lowry, Pascal Siakam, and those other guys. Are they going to tense up because it's a Game 7? So you don't know how those guys are going to perform. They almost lost in the second round to Philadelphia, and those guys look crazy nervous, in that playoff series. So that's why I think a fully healthy Warriors team, they definitely beat them in there. And the Warriors, we're talking about, they not only three-peat, but they win their 4th championship in 5 seasons. I mean, and that's what's really important. So I think that. So getting back to what D was basically saying about Kevin Durant and, G Money, I want to start with your point where you were saying, you're absolutely right. A lot of people were very salty about that decision. And people were thinking at some point, if the deck was kind of stacked, if the league looked like it kind of lost its flair, teams really were not really as good or really focusing on getting better. But look what that move did, as D mentioned. And you would love to see your team dominate and win championships. And a lot of it, sometimes that's what it comes down to. You want to have the best team so that you can make claim that, our team is the best team in team sports for your city. But like D said, what Kevin Durant did, it put the league in a position to where it is now. Teams, look what teams did. They built their team so much to build their team just to beat the Warriors, They try to build their teams to match their style. I mean, that's the influence that Kevin Durant and even Golden State, for that matter, has done to today's NBA. Look at now, you got LeBron and AD, you have Russ and Russ and Harden. You have Luka and Porzingis. You have so many dynamic duos now. You have more dynamic duos than you did in quite a long time. So it's not even a big three. It's not even one team stacking a deck. That's what KD has done for the league. You got KD and Kyrie in Brooklyn. With that too. So that's what KD's move has done. It's created parity. It's created balance. And like D. Jefferson said before this season started, we were going to see a power shift in the Eastern Conference. Look how competitive the Eastern Conference is right now.
Yeah. I mean, the East is very competitive, but there have been some disappointing teams in the East, like the Orlando Magic. Remember, they were a playoff team last year. And this year, the 12-16, they lost 5 out of 6. They've been disappointing. Also, yeah, I even thought the Atlanta Hawks could do something, but they've been garbage. They're 6-23. They started off 2-0, but they're 4-23 ever since. Even there's another team that's kind of been overachieving, like the Charlotte Hornets. People don't not talk about the Hornets. The Charlotte's only a half game back of the 8th spot, and the Hornets were ranked with like 20 games this year. You know what I mean?
Well, to go back on that, in terms of the Atlanta Hawks, remember they're missing John Collins, and remember that they were a very good team in the second half. John Collins does a lot for them. They're missing the versatility of him, and he makes it a lot easier for Trae Young. They were a very good defensive team in the second half when John Collins was there, and so they're missing his versatility. And Trae Young has to pretty much do everything on that team right now. So that's why the Hawks haven't played pretty much up to par. I mean, they haven't been a good defensive team either. With the Orlando Magic, it's just, to me, their pieces just do not fit, and they have too many inconsistent players. So yeah, they went 22-9, but one, their defense hasn't really been that good this season, and they to me they're lacking. They don't really have a consistent star. So Evan Fournier, he's a good player, but he's inconsistent. Aaron Gordon, very talented, but he's inconsistent. Also, Nikola Vukovic hasn't played. He's still injured. So you're missing him.
He came back.
When did he come back?
I think he came back against the Pelicans, yeah.
Okay, so even there, but it's like they're lacking right there.
Go
ahead. No, go ahead, D.
So I kind of narrow it down, and I'm not going to take too much time with this, but I just wanted to make sure I was right on a couple of things. So it's funny that the 3 games I narrowed it down to, and there's really a toss-up for me. And when we ask what's the biggest games, because, man, there's a lot of exciting games. You're talking the whole 2010, right? But
no. Hold on, D. Don't mean to cut you off. It's not biggest games of the 2010. It's the biggest game. As in, what player has been a benefit to the league? I'm sorry if I didn't clarify.
The biggest gains.
Gains, not games. That's a tough one because that's a volume set of like.
Well, we'll do something on that then.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, we're gonna do a live on that, you and me.
Sure.
You know what? We could do it tonight because it's not really any good games on tonight. Mavericks versus the Celtics is the best, but Luka Doncic is not playing. So
Celtics are playing the Mavericks again
tonight.
No, they're not. They're done with Dallas this year. They're done. They swept them 2-0.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm positive.
I don't know. It's not really a lot of good games on. I do know that, bro. Not tonight.
Okay. Wait, aren't you guys doing the Suns and Thunder? That's what I saw.
Tonight?
I was thinking about doing the Suns Thunder game.
But Devin Booker's out, man.
Yeah,
he might play.
Nah, he's not playing tonight. I just looked it up and shit.
Oh
wow.
And I also heard DeAndre Ayton is out too. So once I heard that, I gotta cancel that.
I mean, those two, I want to see them. Them in that game. I don't want to see that game without them. But,
yeah.
But so the biggest game. Well, what do you guys have?
So he has Giannis Antetokounmpo. I had Luka Doncic. Who do you have? Who could you possibly think? I mean, there's some other players too. I mean.
Well, no. I was thinking I don't know. The three, those are two good ones. Also, Joker going over to the Nuggets because he totally
Mhm.
turned that team around. Nikola Jokic going into Denver there. They went from nothing to basically one of the threats in the West. And
Yeah.
it has a lot to do with Nikola Jokic going over there. But Giannis Antetokounmpo, man, that's a good one. What can we say about Giannis? That's not. I'm not saying that that's an easy pick and it's hands down. That's the one. Um, I don't know, man. Between Luca, Giannis, all international players, guys. Think about that too. But between Luca, Giannis, and Jokic,
Jokic.
I think it would be between those three. Luka Doncic. The thing I say about Luka Doncic is how fortunate are the Dallas Mavericks to lose basically the best, arguably the best Mavericks player of all time, and possibly game one who could trump that, if you think about
Mhm.
it. Because they lost Dirk Nowitzki, which, in my opinion, is probably one of the greatest Mavericks player of all times. But they could possibly gain a guy, Luka Doncic. The things he's doing at this age, what he's accomplishing in only his second year is phenomenal. So we could actually see sort of passing of the torch with the Dallas Mavericks, if you get my drift. So that one's huge too, Luca. Wow, man. You know what, guys? I'm gonna say this. Let's see how this season ends. Right now, I'm gonna put them all up there as a tie because either one of these three teams could actually take that gold. Right? Neither of these three guys have that gold. So, in my opinion, the first to get it is
Mhm.
the biggest game.
Mhm.
Okay. I like that one.
Between Giannis and Luca, the first to get that illustrious trophy, that's the biggest game of 2010.
I like it. I like it. All right. So G Money, who in your opinion has been the best story in the decade of the 2010s? So now we're gonna come to you. So who has been the best story for you in the 2010s? D
I
says
say
Derek
more.
Rose. What do you got?
Yeah, I agree with D. I say more Derrick Rose. Like, remember, he was an MVP candidate back in. He won the MVP back in 2011, leading the Bulls, who didn't have a great offense, by the way, winning 62 games, having the best record in the league, but lost to the Heat in five in the conference final. Then in 2012, he looked like an MVP candidate again, and he blew his ACL out against 76ers in the first game. And don't forget, it looked like Chicago and Miami at the time were supposed to have a long rivalry. You know what I mean? But D Rose blew his knee out, and it never seemed to happen. Then it looked like, and then Derrick Rose missed a season in 2013, and in 2014 he came back, but then he only played 10 games and he hurt his meniscus. And in 2015 he looked really good. He looked like his old. He did not look like old Rose, but he showed some flashes. And he had that buzzer beater against the Cleveland Cavaliers in Game 3 to give the Bulls a 2-1 lead until the Cavs won the last three games. And 2016 he had an all right season, just as the Bulls underachieved by missing the playoffs that year. And then let me see. And I think 2017 he got traded to the Knicks. And
Mm-hmm.
man, he was really good in New York though. It's just that the Knicks underachieved that year because it was supposed to be us. It's supposed to be, because remember we had Melo, KP, Noah, Rose, Court Lee.
Right.
It looked like the Knicks were supposed to be a playoff team, but it just never worked out. And then 2018, he got traded to the Cavs. He was okay in Cleveland, and then he went to Minnesota. He had a really good playoff run against the Houston Rockets, and then just last year, he had a very huge season for the T Wolves, and that 50-point game, it really put me into tears because it's like it looked like the old Rose. He really destroyed the Jazz that night, sliced into the paint, hitting threes. He was just amazing that night. And then even this year, he's played well for the Pistons. I know Detroit's kind of been underachieving a little bit, but he's played well for Detroit, and he's showing some flashes of the old Rose. So I had to say Derrick Rose is the biggest story of the 2010s because after it looked like he was done when he blew his ACL out, he still kept up with his ethic. He's still grinding and he's still producing though. I think I wish he went on a championship level team.
Those are great points, and I'm actually going to add a lot more to that, which is so crazy. You know what's funny? Um, had Brandon Roy, I don't know if you guys remember Brandon Roy, had
I,
he, if you remember him, he made it. I mean, I think he made two All-Star teams. Had that huge chronic knee issue, ended up retiring, tried to make an NBA comeback, and unfortunately, he got that chronic knee pain again and ended up retiring. I would have said up until Derrick Rose, he would have been the best NBA story just because of his projection as to being close to a Hall of Fame player that he would have been had he stayed healthy his whole career. But I can agree with everybody on the panel without question. Derrick Rose is clearly the best story in in the 2010s because this guy this guy from Chicago gets drafted by his team, youngest MVP in NBA history, gets all of that gets taken away by an ACL tear in the playoffs.
mm-hmm.
Then on top of that, tears his meniscus a couple of years later,
Yeah,
and
2014.
And people are looking at it and said Derrick Rose is done at 25 years old. He'll never play another NBA game again. And the crazy part about Derrick Rose, he kept trying to come back. It wasn't like one of those things where he just ended up retiring young and he was never going to play again. He kept trying to come back. And this is a guy who had a lot of emotional trauma because of his injuries, and he had a lot of off the field issues, especially when it pertained to his family too. He didn't know if he was going to play again. And even in the situation in New York when he took an absence to leave, uh, and people thought that he wasn't going to come back, and then he had a minor issue in Cleveland and he wasn't going to come back, to get traded again, and for him to have a 50-point game. And this is what we also have to remember. The brother's only 30 years old. For him to go all through this, to come back and have a third, and the thing is also, he said it himself. He was very reckless with himself. This is Derrick Rose reborn. This is Derrick Rose reincarnated. This is Derrick Rose who can still help out a championship team if he were to get traded to one. I don't know if that's going to happen, but it's an amazing story, man. And to see him in tears, to see him smiling again. And the thing is, if you look at the way Derrick Rose is shooting now, he's shooting with much more confidence. He's shooting with much more consistency. And he's been very efficient. And you're seeing a much more smarter D Rose now, who's very humble and he's appreciative of where he is right now. And the crazy part is and the thing is, he hasn't changed his mindset. He still thinks he could be an MVP, and he still thinks that he could be a Hall of Famer. So, he definitely, in my opinion, is no question has been the best story, because he is somebody who people can relate. That you should never give up on your dreams, no matter how bleak things look, man. To keep pushing, and like G Money said, he's still grinding, he's still working out. I mean, he's still performing at a high level for Detroit. I mean, he's averaging a career high in field goal percentage this season. He's shooting 52% from the field. Derrick Rose was known as a volume scorer, and it's unbelievable what he's doing. And he could still make an All-Star team.
Oh, my bad.
No, that's all right. But he's definitely been in agreements, man, for sure. And Freddie Gee says it right here. He's also the biggest what if story. What if he did not get injured? What kind of career path will we be heading right now with D Rose? We're talking about multiple All-Star appearances, and the thing is, he made 2 or 3 All-Star teams before he get his career kind of went. Yeah, all of his All-Star teams were with the Bulls, for sure. And he possibly could make it with Detroit, considering how the East is. So shout out to Derrick Rose, man. The brother's doing wonderful things up there, and I'm glad to see him healthy. Glad to see him smiling again. He's one of those people we need, in the league still. Only 30 years old. So what I want to do is, even though that we've covered all 4 topics, I just want to kind of do a little bit of an extension, because I know ESPN is kind of doing this. And D, what did you say you wanted to do the live on? You said for biggest games of the 2010s is what you want to do for later on? You're on mute. You're on mute, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, good God.
You know how it goes, basketball live with Lewis and D, we can't stop it. And it's not really an interesting game, so I don't want to waste time with the game. But this is one of those nights. I think that's a great topic the biggest game, I already have 3 in my head now because I thought that's what you were saying. But the biggest game of the 2010, and again, guys, this is all subjective. So y'all guys can give us your ideas or whatever. There's no facts on this. This is just subjectivity, what you think and why. But I think that would be a great topic. Or we could say the biggest 3 games. That would make it easier.
Oh, biggest 3 games. I think that'd be a good idea. Biggest 3 games.
Yeah, I already got 3 in my head. I already got 3 in my head. I think
I got 3 in my head as well. I mean, and we can just put those together and pretty much talk. I mean, so like, we can run it. We'll run it back. I'll create the thumbnail, and we'll just put biggest games of the 2010s. It could be biggest 3 games, and if anybody has any other ideas, man, we could definitely pull that up for sure. But what I want to do is, because ESPN is kind of doing this right now, and what I wanted to let you guys know is who, if you're making your all-decade lineup for the 2010s, who would be your point guard, your 2 guard, your small forward, power forward, and center for this decade? And I want to start with you, D, as to who would fill out those positions, in your opinion.
Wow. Point guard. Now, when we say this is for the 2010s, so this could be concerning, like, of when they were at their best, no?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Pure point guard. I'm going to have to go with Chris Paul. He would be my point guard.
Okay.
I would definitely have him at my point guard position. I believe when you look at your traditional point guard, one that can take off offensively, one who's great defensively, Chris Paul probably still have some of the quickest hands in the league. You can't stand in front of him messing around with that ball because it could be gone from you. His court vision, his ability to shoot that 3 ball, the mid-range, like Lewis talked about, Chris Paul definitely has that mid-range. He has a nice floater. He had all the tools, and he reminded you of the old school point guards, the Stocktons, the Nashes, that traditional style point guard that does the floor general, the real floor general. So at that 2 position, the 1 position, I would definitely have Chris Paul there. Okay. Shooting guard. This might be a shocker for you guys, but I know that there's other good shooting guards, but I'm going to take Klay Thompson. I will take Klay Thompson.
Interesting.
Because
wow.
And I will tell you why I would take Klay Thompson over a lot of these other guys. First off, and Lewis, you remember I said this before the season started. Klay Thompson is a very underrated 2-way player. And I'm
Agreed.
Defense. I'm huge on defense. We've also seen Klay Thompson take off on multiple 50-point games. When the guy gets hot, you can't stop him. You understand what I'm saying? He's tall and he's lengthy, so he's going to be a problem to any other 2 guard, especially the fact that he can shoot that 3, he can drive the lane, and the defense. So that 2-way player, you need that. You got good defense with Chris Paul. You got good defense with Klay Thompson over there. So I'm going to stick Klay Thompson at number 2. Hands down, no question. I got LeBron James at number 3. I don't care how much you love him. I don't care what you about LeBron James. I'm going to put LeBron James as my number 3. And it's just that simple, man. He's in the top 10 already. He's probably one of the greatest players we're going to see. So you can't take anybody else over LeBron James for the number 3, especially when we're talking about putting a team together. And then I can put Kevin Durant at number 4 because that's exactly what I would do. I would put Kevin Durant at number 4. What's to say about Kevin Durant? Or what's not to say? Because guys, we're talking about these guys at their best. Who am I going to take over Kevin Durant at number 4 in this era? Maybe Tim Duncan. Maybe a Tim Duncan.
I don't know about that.
I say maybe a Tim Duncan. The reason I say, well, let me tell you this, G, and I always I'm calculated when I think. Now, The reason I would say maybe a Tim Duncan over Kevin Durant because I'm building my team here. So when you got a guy with the court vision of a Chris Paul, right? And you also have a guy with a court vision of LeBron James playing your 3 position. Either of those guys are going to find the fundamentally sound and almost automatic with that bank shot. They're going to find Tim Duncan. You know, he had length. So that's why I said maybe Tim Duncan. Now I'm going to pick Kevin Durant, of course, but you could make that argument. For my number 5 guy, in the middle, so we're talking 2010s. Man, you know, that's a tough one because there was really some really good players, centers. But we're talking about the best during 2000, at their best during 2010. Man, that's a tough one, bro. Because it's kind of a toss-up between a few centers that with the team that I just built around these guys. If you think about it, that's kind of a tough one. But I'm gonna run with all that offensive talent we have. This one might be another shocker for you guys. With all of that offensive talent that I just built with that team, I'm going to run with the big man in Utah Jazz, Rudy Gobert, because that man is nasty on the inside. We got enough offense on the team, bro. We got Chris Paul. Okay. We got LeBron James. We got Kevin Durant, Mr. Automatic. So, look, let's let nothing go down in our hole and put Mr. Rudy Gobert down there in the middle. I think that team would be really hard to beat.
Great points, D.
Okay, hold on. I got to address something real quick because I'm already seeing right here. Okay. Freddie Gee says D. Jeff is high. He probably was talking about the Klay Thompson thing, or he was in terms of the 2 guard. But, yo, Freddie, that's his opinion.
Rudy Gobert.
That's not a big deal.
It's he down with somebody. Again, Freddie G too. You got to think about this, bro. It's not about your greatest players all the time. You're building a team here, right? And you have to think just because you have all the greatest players don't mean you're gonna win. You know, look what happened to LeBron and those boys and Carmelo and them when they went. They should have won. And I'm talking international ball there, but they definitely had the greatest players, individual players on the team, but they didn't necessarily win. So you're trying to build a team here. Is there better 2 guards out there that, you know, you say better individually than Klay Thompson? Yeah. But when you're building a team and thinking about what these guys have to do, remember, there's always defense to consider. So you have massive defense with Chris Paul, with Klay Thompson, with Rudy Gobert. We know LeBron James, especially talking about the years he was the greatest, is going to slack up on defense some. So that's why I put Klay Thompson in there.
All right, G Money, man. Your turn for your lineup for the 2010s.
All right, point guard for me, I say Steph Curry because it's like he was one of the greatest 3-point. She was one of the greatest shooters of all time. Some people call him the greatest shooter, but I always tell people it also involves mid-range shots. If you talk about greatest shooter, you may have to consider like Larry Bird, though. To me, he was the greatest 3-point shooter of all time, in my opinion. Because remember, in the 73-9 year, he hit 402 threes. So I put Steph Curry because he's a very underrated ball handler. He can pass the ball, and he had some memorable moments, especially the one against the Thunder where he hit the game winner. And also last year's playoffs, in Game 6 against the Rockets, he had 23 out of his 33 in the fourth quarter, and including 33 in the second half after he went scoreless. And even last year in the finals, he had 35 or whatever in the finals. Average had a 47-point game. I say Steph Curry because he's won 2 MVPs, including one unanimous, and he was the heart and soul of the Warriors at the time. My shooting guard, I'm going with James Harden, in my opinion. I understand James Harden has not been great in the postseason, but here's what I think. I just think James Harden's a little bit more consistent than Klay Thompson, in my opinion. I mean,
Okay.
Klay is a better defender and a better 3-point shooter than Harden, but James Harden is more of an all, in my opinion, more of an all around player than Klay Thompson. Klay is a
Right.
good shooter, but he's hot and cold. You know what I mean? Klay
True,
is hot
true,
and cold.
true, true.
That's what I'm trying to say. James Harden can dribble. He's an all right passer. He can cross you over. He's had some. He's a very dynamic regular season player. It's just that in the playoffs, he's just not consistent though. But I think this year may change. My small forward, LeBron James, enough said. Power forward, I'm gonna say Kevin Durant because he's arguably the best scorer since Kobe Bryant, in my opinion, and Michael Jordan. You could make a case for James Harden, but I think that KD has more of a weapon. He can hit the three, he can hit the mid range, he can drive to the paint, he can go to the low post. He
Mm.
hit the floater. He's had the offensive attack. And in my center, and this may kind of shock you a little bit. In my opinion, I gotta go with Boogie Cousins. I know I gotta go with DeMarcus Cousins for my center because he was a very polished big man. Maybe the why the Kings couldn't make the playoffs with him is because not only because Boogie had a temper problem, it's just that the Kings front office was really dysfunctional. They didn't give him the right pieces around him to succeed at, to succeed. And don't forget, in New Orleans, he was beasting out with AD until he got hurt against the Rockets in January, and that ended his tenure with the Pelicans, though. So I gotta go 2010s, in my opinion. Steph Curry, James Harden, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Boogie Cousins.
Right.
I
And
like the look.
one thing before you go, Lewis, I want to change. I want to take Rudy Gobert out. I do. Because I was just,
Okay.
as he was talking, I was just thinking about this. I want to take Rudy Gobert out and I want to
Mm.
stick Anthony Davis in there. That's what I
Mm.
want to do.
AD's a power forward.
Yeah. I want to roll Chris Paul, Klay Thompson, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and AD. Yeah.
Okay.
Because he's very defensive just as well. And but what he can do on the offensive side, I think, is a bonus. It's a
Okay.
bonus.
Gotcha. All right, man. I actually like both of your lists. So here we go with me. So my 2010 starting lineup. Okay. At the point guard position, I got the unanimous two-time MVP Steph Curry. You're talking about a player who, in my opinion, when it looked like he wasn't going to have a career with his ankle injuries, ended up revolutionizing the game in one season with the 2015 Golden State Warriors. And then he topped it off in 2016 by having one of the most historic seasons in NBA history. And he
Mhm.
was able to end up having 5 straight seasons playing 75 games or more. And the thing is, he won 2 MVPs and won 3 titles. And Golden State, he was part of a dynasty. And so Steph Curry put up amazing numbers. And even with Kevin Durant, he was able to actually lead the Warriors in scoring with KD, with his numbers going slightly down. So, and the impact. So you have to think the fact is Steph Curry revolutionized the game with the way that he played, with the way he plays, and he made the war, and he's helped make the Warriors into what they are.
Mhm.
So, and I think that even though he's a hybrid guard, I mean, he can do so many things on the floor. He can play off the ball. He can be a playmaker. Like he can do so many. Steph Curry's very versatile, and he doesn't get enough credit for it. And he's not going to lead your team in assists because Steph Curry's actually more effective when he plays off the ball than he plays with on it because he's really more so prone to turnovers, and they focus even more. They even focus more on him when he has the ball in his hands. I mean, name me a guy who gets played a box-in one defense in the NBA Finals, like the Raptors did again in Game One. I ain't never heard of something like that before. You played a middle
True.
school defense on an NBA player. That to me is crazy, and that just tells you the impact that Steph Curry has, and it just shows you when Steph Curry doesn't play the impact. Even though the offensive center around him, it's still a motion offense. It's not like if he's ball dominant because he's not. So, and it just shows you how everybody still eats with Curry. Like look at the shots that Clay gets when Curry's on the floor. It just tells you he gives you spacing, and you got to guard him 94 feet. So that's the impact that he has. So I got Steph Curry as my point guard. Shooting guard. 2010s at the shooting guard spot. I mean, this is a toss-up between Klay Thompson and James Harden, but I would just go with James Harden just because he's a little more consistent. Now, he's a volume scorer, and like Klay Thompson, he can go hot and cold. But at least with James Harden, he has the ability to get to the basket. He has handles, and he can get to the free throw line. Klay Thompson, a
Hmm.
lot of and Klay Thompson is a better defender than James Harden, but when James Harden wants to, he could play good defense. But I will say
True.
offensively, James Harden could do a little bit more, and the thing is, he can make plays, and he's a solid playmaker. Um, so I have him as my two guard because I really can't think of anybody else. But so I have him at the two. At the three, no brainer, LeBron James. I mean, let's face it, three NBA championships, four regular season MVPs, three Finals MVPs. He clearly has been pretty much arguably he's been the best player in this decade for a multitude of years. LeBron's had one of the most amazing careers, and he's still going strong in the 17th season. Uh, if you don't got LeBron on your team, something wrong with you. I mean, because he's
I
clearly
agree.
that good, and he's still playing. Um, you know, you know, this long. So that's LeBron. Number four. I mean, KD Trey five. I mean, no question
Hmm.
about it. You're talking about a guy who won the MVP in 2014 with the Thunder. You're talking about a guy who is capable of putting up a 50, 40, 90. I feel like he, to me, is kind of like the modern day Larry Bird, just a little bit different with his ability to shoot mid range, 3 point, gets to the free throw line, shoots a high percentage. Two-time finals MVP as well, even if he did play with Golden State. So I'm just saying that Kevin Durant is going to be my four. And look, and also, man, look how Kevin Durant has impacted with the parity. I mean, he's another guy like LeBron who went to another team, won with two plus All Stars, and then look what it's done. It's gotten the league to try to build their team so that not only can they beat the Warriors, but they can compete for years to come. And look at the parity that we had. So
Hmm.
KD, another impactful player. Same thing with LeBron James with his impact, player empowerment. So, shout out with KD. And last but not least, at the number five spot, who do I have at the five spot? Um, so D said Anthony Davis. G Money said DeMarcus Cousins. This may be a little bit of a surprise to you. And shout out to my man Key Game in the building who just happened to pop through. Salute with my boys. Appreciate you, my brother. Shout out to King Got Game. But I'm gonna pick this guy, Dwight Howard. Here's why.
I don't know about that. Okay.
Here's the reason being. Dwight Howard was able to win a couple of Defensive Player of the Year awards in this decade. That's number one. He
Hmm.
made five All-Star teams in this decade also, which is why I give
Hmm.
him credit. He hasn't been the same since he left the Lakers. Well, actually, since he left Orlando. He did make the all, and people forget that he in 2013. Remember, he had a back injury. Also,
Yes.
he had a torn labrum, and we have to remember who the coach was on that Lakers team. It was Mike D'Antoni. If
Hmm.
he would have had Phil Jackson would have used him the right way. And the reason he wanted Phil Jackson was because Phil Jackson knows how to utilize big men in the triangle offense. With Mike D'Antoni, what is his play style? He's a guy who likes to play up and down, and you have to be able to shoot in his system. And Dwight Howard is not a shooter. He's a big man and
Hmm.
he's a low post player. But he was still able to make five All-Star teams, win two Defensive Player of the Year awards, and um, before and the thing is like when we look at DeMarcus Cousins, I would have treaded with him, but he's been the way he's been injured these last couple of seasons. It's like, and with Anthony Davis, he's made multiple All-Star teams, but I feel like he's not as accomplished, and I feel like he could do more. I mean, but he's an offensive beast. Don't get me wrong with that. So I think Dwight Howard to me has done enough for me in the 2010s for me to put him at the center position. So I got Steph Curry, James Harden, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and Dwight Howard as my five for the 2010s. So that would be my 2010s in terms of that. So I'm gonna just look at the comments real quick. I know Freddie and Jay have kind of been going at each other, man. Uh, those guys
Freddie
have been
and
kind of
Jay, what y'all doing over there, Freddie and Jay? I ain't been paying y'all no attention, man.
for real. It's like it's like Freddie was kind of joking about your list, and Jay was like, Jay kind of got offended by it because he was like, let it be in his list. I mean, Listen, man. I mean, it's really not that serious, bro. It's like, yo, you know what? I'm gonna say
Yeah,
it this way, man. I'm
nah,
gonna put it this way.
F that. Yeah, Jay. F Freddie talk about my list. What you talking about, Freddie? Nah.
Exactly. Yeah, shut the
Yo,
hell up.
man. Yo,
Uh,
it's all good. It's all love at the end of the day, fellas. I mean, y'all really shouldn't take it seriously, man, when it comes to this topic. I put it this way. Jay, put your list for 2010 starting lineup. Oh, wait, I think he did that already. Let me go check, see who he had.
Nah,
No,
like it, bro.
uh,
For the G.
let me see. Raduni had Steph, James, LeBron, KD. Oh, he had DeAndre Jordan. I'm interested.
About DeAndre Jordan, I don't know about that. I disagree with that.
who had DeAndre Jordan?
Raduni has DeAndre
What
Jordan
do
on his
you?
list.
Well, listen, guys, listen. I want to say this to you, Gideon. You got to think about this. That's why I asked the question that I asked. We're talking about these players at their best. So when Dwight Howard was at his best, what Lewis was saying made sense. And remember, we're building a team here. When DeAndre Jordan was at his best over there with Chris and Blake Griffin and the things that he was doing there, the rebounds, the dunks, like he could barely be stopped inside. So with these guys at their best, I really don't mind those two guys being on a top team like that. I mean, and again, it's all opinionated and subjective, but that's just how I see it. I think that's not a bad idea.
No, and that's what I think. I mean, I honestly think that it's all about building your team, and it's like again, when you look at the crop of 2010 players, it's what do you need to build a championship team? When I look at Steph, I look at a guy who can space the floor. He would help James Harden a lot, and James Harden wouldn't have the ball in his hands so much. And as a matter of fact, they could take turn. They could actually honestly take turns. But I know James Harden is kind of a selfish player, but it just shows you Curry could honestly play off the ball. You look at LeBron. Whatchamacallit. You look at LeBron, man. LeBron he's gonna dominate. He's a guy who, like I said, he dominates. He's a freight train. LeBron he's a bully. He plays bully ball. So it's like you really can't stop him, when he's in his prime. And I'm getting an athletic LeBron James, man. You give me an athletic LeBron James, I'm good money. And then Kevin Durant. We're talking about Durantula. What can that guy not do? I mean, he puts nightmares with his ability to shoot that basketball, mid-range, drives, handles, and this guy's a 7-footer. You're talking about you got LeBron at 6'8", KD at 7 feet. I mean, it's unbelievable. And then you got Dwight Howard. And the thing is, if you look at my front line, that's a very good defensive lineup when those guys commit to defense. You're talking about prime LeBron. You're talking about KD with the way he was playing defense in Golden State and the flashes he showed in OKC. And then I got Defensive Player of the Year, Dwight Howard. If we're talking about a guy who put up some pretty good numbers in Orlando. Maybe they weren't 25, 26 a game, but he would give you 22 to 23 with about 14, 15 rebounds a game. I mean, those are still pretty good. And at one time, he was regarded. This was said about the media. Maybe people don't look at Dwight when they watch him play as the best big man, but he was regarded by the media as the best big man in the game. Give me prime Dwight Howard playing that elite defense that he played with his shot blocking, his ability to change the game defensively. He doesn't even have to be a dominant offensive player to impact the game. You give me that kind of defense, I'm taking Dwight Howard, bro. So that would be my 2010s All-Star. So let me look at the comments, man. Oh man, these guys are going in right now. Oh man. So I'm just gonna skip that because it's really not that serious. So King Got Game, shout out to my man King Got Game. He says that's all you need. Whatchamacallit? Jay says I didn't have an issue with these lists. I didn't even comment with the childish comments. I mean, like I said, it's all love at the end of the day, man. It's like it's all like I said, it's a subjective list. It's like when you say who the best player in the game is. There's people who you could say arguably are the best, and again, it's all subjective. Just like when you say the top 10 greatest players of all time, it's subjective.
Yeah.
That's subjective.
I just did a top 10 in the league right now, and I'm pretty sure to a lot of people's surprise, I didn't have Kawhi. I had Giannis as number one. Yeah, I had Kawhi at number 2, and I had LeBron at number 3. See, here's the thing, and the reason I had it the way it was. And you guys can go check the video out anytime. But The thing is this. I have this thing, and Lewis knows, he's heard me say it plenty of times before. Availability plus durability equals eligibility. Okay, and the Clippers have lost some games because Kawhi wasn't there. But Giannis is there, bro. You understand what I'm saying? Giannis is there. And when we talk about this two-way player, well, the top three guys, in my opinion, as far as two-way players, is Giannis, Kawhi, and Paul George. So he's also up there with being a two-way player. And after the game that we just did commentary for tonight, Giannis is starting to develop a jump shot. You know what I mean? And when that happens, man, I got Giannis as number one right now because Kawhi, the load management and minute restriction is what takes Kawhi out of number one for me. I'm just one of the guys from the old school. Availability plus durability equals eligibility. And on my list, you're not going to be eligible unless you're on that floor. So I had Giannis at number one.
No, that there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, there's arguably that you could say Giannis is the best in the game. It's funny, some media members are already saying that Giannis is kind of becoming the king. But the funny thing is, they're doing it because the Bucks beat the Lakers last night, and that was a pretty good game, mind you, ladies and gentlemen. That Giannis kind of crowned the king, and he's kind of become the new best player in the league. Whatchamacallit. And so. And Key Got Game says Kawhi is my number one. I got no problem with you saying that because, quite honestly, when Kawhi is playing, he is arguably the best player in the game. So then the question, you can make a case between Giannis, Kawhi, and KD, which to me, that would kind of bring an interesting topic, man. When healthy, who is the best player between those three? That would actually be an interesting debate right there. And I still got LeBron in the top five anyway in terms of best players in the game. So I think that would be a real interesting topic. So what I do want to do, ladies and gentlemen, is I want to cancel this stream and I want to re-up with D Jefferson on that next live stream we're talking about. And Gideon, if you want to come through, we could do that. Or unless if it's just me and you, D, I don't mind that neither. But but I said I wanted to try to get more people to try to talk in this, so I'll probably get like maybe one or two guests again.
Yeah, well, no disrespect I meant to Gideon, but this one is going to be Basketball Live with Lewis and D. It's replacing our so
Gotcha.
all of you guys that listen in and come and join us, Basketball Live with Lewis and D. Unless one of us are sick or absent, then we may bring a special guest up there. Other than that, it's going to be just Lewis and D. And you guys can always give your input in the comment section. We always going to read it and take up what you guys are saying. Let me put an end to this with Jay and Freddie. First off, Jay and Freddie, both of you guys are my mans for sure. Jay, I think you might have a little bit of the wrong idea of Freddie. And the reason I say that, Freddie G is one of my best supporters, bro, and have been since I started the channel. Freddie was actually supporting me before I even started the channel because I was over on He Knows the Sports just doing work there. And Freddie's always been my guy. One more thing about Freddie. Freddie is the very first person who ever gave Speak Your Mind Sports Talk a donation. So, Freddie don't wish the death of me. Freddie don't wish nothing bad about D. Jeff. Freddie talks shit to me the same way I talk shit to him. But don't take it the wrong way. Me and Freddie going to be cool the next day. And Jay, Freddie J is the same way, bro. Jay is good money, bro. He always supported me and Lewis. So y'all guys hash that out. No animosity should be between either of you guys. I'm not really trying to make peacemaker here. I'm just trying to tell you guys, like, neither one of you guys are against me or Lewis. This is all opinionated. So if your opinion is different from mine, I don't mind it. So I don't think either of y'all guys should mind it. So let that die, bro. This is a basketball family. Let's keep it that way.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying that's why I said to keep it clean in there, man, because it's just about being supportive, man. And that's like I said, you two are two of the biggest supporters that me and D have, and man, it's about a family. Like that's all it is, man. It's like, again, everybody's gonna have different opinions, man. Sometimes you're gonna say, yo, what in the hell is this dude smoking, man? And it's like, in terms of the opinion. Like sometimes if I say that I don't like something about a certain player, it's my opinion at the end of the day. You may not agree with it, but you gotta respect it no matter what. it's just sometimes it's just always like it always is gonna come off. Oh man, you're hating on this and hating on that. If I could give context, there's a reason why I'm bringing it that way. D may say something that I don't agree with, but that doesn't mean I don't respect it because at the end of the day, it's his opinion. G Money, Jay, Freddie. Again, Freddie's been one of my biggest supporters, man. Freddie's been one of my biggest supporters, man. Even when we were going back and forth on, he knows his channel, like when it came to LeBron sometimes, and I said, sometimes I don't agree with what Freddie's saying because sometimes some of the stuff comes off like, kind of casual if you don't put things in the proper context. But Freddie, he knows his basketball. He makes great points. And like I said, he's one of my biggest supporters. And it's the same with you, Jay. Like, there's a lot of things that you bring to the table as well. So it's all love at the end of the day, man. So just keep it, like I said, just keep it clean. And like G says, man, just cut out the animosity because it's like there really is none right here. So that's what it is, man. So, just leave it. So like I said, we're gonna come back and gonna close this out. I want to appreciate everybody, but we're gonna come back and do another stream. So my man G Money, man, close us out, and then D close out this one, and we're gonna come back with another basketball live. So yeah, go ahead, G Money, man.
It's on you, G.
It's on you, G. Anything to say to the people?
Thank you for coming. Thank you for supporting us, and then we'll see you later. All right. I gotta go, so I'll see you guys later. All right. Bye bye.
All right, G. Thanks, bro.
Shout out to you, my brother. All right, D, close this one now, so then we could go back on that next one. I just gotta set some stuff up.
All right, guys, we're going to be back here in about, I guess, 20 minutes, 8:30. Is that good enough time for you, Lewis? 20 minutes to set yours up?
Give me like about 20.
I just sent you about 24 minutes. Let's do 8:45. Yeah. All right, 8:45. Yeah. We'll come back. But look, I just sent you a thumbnail. You don't have to use that one, but I just designed a little thumbnail while we were talking there, so you could check it out if you like it. Just put your logo over top of mine down in the corner. You know what I mean? Just stick it over above it. But y'all come check us out. I think this is going to be a good one. This next topic, I'm pretty sure. And Gideon, if you got time, bro, like even if you're in the chat, still come in, bro, because I want to hear you got fucking a plethora of basketball knowledge, brother. I love it. But yeah, I appreciate all you guys, man. Y'all kill all of that animosity, man. This is not those crazy people over on the boxing side. And Freddie, you know how they get over there on the boxing side. This is the basketball side, bro. It's all love. Y'all come check us out. Y'all know how I always in this for the love of sports. Let's talk about it.
All right, shout out to everybody for coming through. And once again, come re-up in the next 25 minutes. So as always, appreciate everybody who's took the time and listened. Hope you guys catch the live replay. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, make sure to stream. And like I always say, man, pound it with your chest. As always, 3 mottos: live, laugh, love. Thank you for watching. Deuces. And we will see you on the next one in just a 25 minutes, man. Just in a few, man. All right.